If you're thinking of coming to Japan, this is what to expect. But it's a nice day outside, and maybe you want to see a little bit of Tokyo. So let's go for a walk together, and I'll tell you what to expect when you're moving to Japan as a foreigner. I came to Japan in April 2024, and I knew very basic Japanese. I knew how to get around. I knew how to ask for the washroom, I knew how to order, and I knew how to maybe introduce myself. And I studied for 3 months at a language school, and then it's just been kind of self-study since then. I worked for a bank in Canada. I made a decent salary. I worked from home. Basically, I enjoyed my life in Canada. I liked my job, but I wasn't even able to move out. I had a good job, good salary. I still couldn't afford my own place. And so that was kind of Canada's problem. I knew leaving Canada I'd be a little bit sad. I had to leave my good job, but I wanted to get out of the country for a bit. I wanted to have my own place, my own room, a chance to be on my own since I'm almost 30 and it's just not happening in Canada. If you want your own place in Canada, you need to be making at least $80,000 or $100,000, depending on the city that you're in. So this is just unobtainable for me. I don't have a bachelor's degree. I have 3 college diplomas. This is also part of the problem in Japan. In Japan, if you want a job, you need a bachelor's degree, at minimum. If you're a foreigner, you need a bachelor's degree, and that's for the visa requirements. So because I have 3 college diplomas and no bachelor's degree, I'm basically not qualified for anything. During the 20 years when everything was on lockdown, I opened up my own English school with a friend, and we were teaching English classes daily, and that ended up being our job. And so I have my own English teacher experience, 3 years teaching English, but that doesn't even count in Japan. They don't even look at that because I don't have a bachelor's degree. So I could have a bachelor's degree in engineering and no English teaching knowledge whatsoever, and they would hire that person over me, who has 3 years of starting my own English school, making the lessons plans, doing everything. They still wouldn't take me. So I think that's a bit of a flawed system, but that's the way Japan works. That's the unfortunate truth. If you're thinking of coming to Japan, just know, please get a bachelor's degree first. Don't do what I did. One of the other things you need to be worried about is finding your own place to live. It can be a challenge, especially if your Japanese is not so good. But what I recommend to you is the share houses in Japan. Japan is pretty good for these foreigner-friendly share houses where Japanese people go to learn English so you can make new friends, and then you can learn Japanese from them as well. The one I'm staying in and the one I recommend is called Oak House. I've been with them for the whole 8 months, and they are super chill, super friendly. I know some of the other share houses, they require no overnight guests. You can't have friends over. They're very strict. So some of the share houses you really need to watch out for. They're super strict with rules and things like that. Maybe they'll charge you extra if you have someone sleep over or things like that. So it's these little inconveniences. So I recommend Oak House. I do have a link in the description, and this is my Oak House share link. Basically, if you sign up using my link, we both get $50 off our rent. So it's kind of a win. I'm not a direct affiliate with them. This is just anyone in the Oak House can have this. So it's a nice little bonus if you're considering moving to a share house. All right, this spot's pretty loud. Let's find somewhere else. Alright, so if you're thinking of coming to Japan to visit, to live, or maybe you just arrived in Japan, this video is for you. So if you're thinking of moving to Japan, there's a couple things you do want to consider. 1 is probably your education level. 2 would be your visa status and the length of your visa. 3 would be your housing options. And 4 would be your income before coming here. When I came to Japan, I had $10,000 Canadian, and I thought that was more than enough for at least 6 to 8 months. So where I'm about now, I thought $10,000 would be okay. Because I make a little bit of money from YouTube every month, so I already had that additional income, and then I figured by now I would have a full-time job. Well, that $10,000 got used up within about 4 months. From rent to the cell phone plan to trips, traveling around Japan, not even traveling far, traveling around Tokyo, let's say. It ends up being a little more costly than you'd expect. So with the working holiday visa program, they say you need at least 3,500, but that doesn't come anywhere near close. I think the minimum recommendation, I think, is at least 10,000, and that's the bare minimum before considering coming to Japan. $10,000 Canadian. Find your place about 2 months ahead of time. I think I found mine in February, and I arrived here in April. And also some of the things you want to be looking out for are job boards specifically for foreigners. Because Japan has this thing called Hello Work, and it's basically a office that specializes in finding work for foreign residents, but it's terrible. They said they had 0 jobs for me. So that was pretty surprising to hear 0 jobs available. And then they just kind of told me, good luck, try some other websites. And so I've been trying other websites. Here's a list of online websites that are kind of for foreigners. I think the best one would be, it's called Daijob, but you need to be fluent in Japanese for this one. But it seems to have good salaries, good companies, good positions. So that's kind of the goal. Once you get N2, N1, that's where you want to be applying. Until then, other websites could be Gaijinpot is one of the most famous ones. YOLO Japan is another one. And Career Cross is another one, as well as some of the basic ones that everyone knows. Indeed, Glassdoor, and LinkedIn are also all good alternative websites, although I haven't had a single interview from any of those other websites. All right, so how have I been surviving? So my situation's been kind of unique. Looking at, so what have I been doing? Since I don't have a bachelor's degree, I can't find a job teaching English. I can't find any job, basically. My route has been a little bit different. So you can definitely do this too. I make a little bit of money from my YouTube channel. And then also what I've been doing is acting. So Japan is always looking for foreign faces to be in the background of the videos. Whether it's a TV drama, a movie, a commercial, they do want foreign faces. You don't need to be good looking. You don't need to have any qualifications. Basically, you just need to be not Japanese. And these agencies, you can just look up like the Tokyo Background Talent Agency, Osaka, and then sometimes they'll even give you jobs with lines. Now, the problem with these types of jobs, sometimes they pay really well, depending on the company. And it's kind of cool. You get to work for some big companies, but they pay 3 months later. So just be aware of that. If you work in January, you're not getting paid until April. So that's definitely, that's what I've been doing. It's an option. It's not ideal. It's not stable work too. Some weeks you're working every day. Some weeks you just don't work at all. And it's competitive. Everyone's fighting for the good jobs with the good salaries. All right, it's 6 o'clock now. Let's head back home and we'll talk a little bit more. All right, so we just arrived back in my house. That was a good little walk around my city. And let's go a little bit further into the Japanese life. So we've talked about moving to Japan, finding a house here, finding a job here through online websites, having the necessary education to apply to these jobs, and the language required, the language level required. And now let's just do some personal things I've noticed while living here. So Japan is awesome. It is amazing. Everyone is super nice, except for maybe a couple old guys that don't like foreigners. Generally, I think people are interested in you. They want to talk to you and they want to get to know you, especially if you go out bar hopping or izakaya hopping. You can make friends super easy here, especially if you live in a share house. It's so easy. Everyone's drinking and having fun together here.
every single night. So let's talk about a few things. One, medication in Japan is different. So if you're thinking of moving to Japan or even just visiting for a few months, make sure to bring all your medication because you probably won't be able to find it here. I use a cream for my face that's supposed to, it helps stop the redness because I have rosacea, so I get these like red flare-ups, and I can't find it in Japan. So I had to bring an extra one. I came prepared and I brought an extra one from Canada. Another thing, if you're thinking of moving to Japan, be sure to apply for the healthcare right away. Japan has really good healthcare. I made a video about, I had a cancer surgery in Japan. So I had stage 1 skin cancer and I got it removed in Japan. In that video, I talk about how much I paid and the whole process of it. So you can check that out on my channel and be sure to like and subscribe while you're on your way to do that. No, seriously, if you could leave a like on this video, it helps the channel a lot. Thank you. The next one is small spaces. So living in Japan, you're going to be in small spaces every day. The cafes are nice and small in Tokyo. Your room is going to be very small, or your house is going to be just like one room. And so a lot of the spaces are very, very squished together and small. Coming from Canada, it's the complete opposite. Usually we have a lot of space, but yeah, it's just something you get used to. You know, it's the housing here is very affordable. It's very cheap. Rent isn't too bad at all compared to other countries, but you get such a small space. Lastly, I want to talk about the train cards. So there's the Suica and Pasmo in Tokyo. And the best part about those, and something I wish I knew earlier, was that you can use those for everything. So I was paying with my debit card, or I was using my debit card in the ATM, or paying with my debit card or credit card, and there's an extra fee associated with those, right? If you take money out of the ATM, you get charged for that. If you pay with your card, sometimes there's an extra charge. Best thing I recommend for you, if you want to save extra money, is to just get that train card and load it up with as much money as possible, because you can use that to buy groceries, buy convenience store food. Some chain restaurants also can take it. So it's so convenient. It has everything you want in this one card. So that way you can still be cashless, you can still tap the card, and it's super easy and convenient just to do like the convenience store, grocery stores, some restaurants. So that way you're not just running around with pockets full of cash or coins. So that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to the channel. It really helps me survive in Japan when you do this. If you can share it with someone who's moving to Japan or thinking about moving to Japan, this is all the basics you need to know. All right, thank you.